Well, hello and welcome everybody. It's May 5th. This is the Tea with Tim. We're going to be discussing a vision, having a vision for what you want, what you desire, and manifesting that vision. We're going to be talking about goals and implementing those goals. Now, this is going to be a lot different because, again, if you are, I'm assuming all of you have been doing leadership development, you've probably attended maybe a goals workshop. So I'm assuming that you have some idea about goals and completing and achieving your goals. But I like to think that this presentation in Elective Society will give you a different perspective, a different angle that you may not have heard. Yes, I see Shania, SMART goals. I know we've all heard of them. So I'll touch only very briefly on that, but let's jump right in with the training so that we all can start learning about having a vision, creating goals, and implementing those goals. So the first thing is always, I like to start off with the disclaimer. I'm going to be sharing a lot of different videos from different speakers, and I hope that you will be used as a way to facilitate discussion. All right, so my first video is that on an interview with Oprah Winfrey and Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer passed away a couple years ago, I believe, and he was a very, very influential speaker. He did a lot of PBS specials, raising for public access television, and it was all about success and motivation. But again, he almost had I would describe it as a spiritual component into what he was talking about, but he didn't do it in a proselytizing way or anything like that. And so, again, Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful people alive, followed his advice and really, was guided to talk about these topics. So I want you to watch this video. It's going to be 4 minutes, and then we can have a quick discussion. So here we go. The art of manifestation.
Mastering the art of manifestation. How is that different from the law of attraction?
It's very, very different.
Tell me.
Yeah. The law of attraction, and I'm not here to put down the law of attraction. I think
I think the law of attraction and The Secret opened people up to a new way of thinking.
Absolutely.
It had its flaws because it allowed some people to think that all you had to do is think about a bicycle and there it would show up.
Yeah.
And the key word that you use in here over and over and over again in every chapter is that in order to attract or manifest anything, you have to be in alignment
with your source.
With your source.
With God.
With
you have
God.
to be
it's about
you have to stay connected to the ocean.
That's right. Because you can't just sit around and wishing for stuff.
So the basic thing that Neville taught me, and a lot of this is from the teachings of Neville, Neville Goddard, who died in the 1970s. He basically said that all of us have within us this amazing capacity to manifest and attract anything that we want into our life. So how we call it, what words that we use, we have to be able to say, in The Secret, they say you get what you want, and what is missing. And what Neville said and what has come to me and what I got from the I Am discourses and what I get from the New Testament, which I read before I did this, is that you say, I will attract into my life what I am, not what I want. And I am capable of attracting all things that the source is capable of attracting. So that's the difference. It's like you get what you are rather than what you want. So you want to become, you can't go around and ask these divine beings, angels, whatever you want to call them.
Who are right here all the time.
You can't ask them to help me out. You have to become like they are. That when you become angelic, when you become a divine being yourself, when you are giving, when you are serving, when you are in that place, they will come to you. That's what happened to you in India. You then begin to see yourself in everything. It's like,
because it is our goal to reflect the character of God. That's what we're here to do, is to emulate that.
And that's what the Tao Te Ching teaches as well. They call it your original nature. Your original nature is reverence for all of life, gentleness, kindness, and service towards others. That's Lao Tzu, 500 years before the birth of Christ, saying that's our original nature.
Yes.
Reverence for all of life, gentleness, kindness, service towards others, giving, offering, serving. And when you get to that place where you no longer have any judgment within you towards any of God's children, that means no condemnation, no criticism, no judgment towards anyone, even the Osama bin Laden.
But how can we be that since we're here,
But
we're
what-
living, we're on earth, we got problems,
Yeah,
we
but-
got our issues, we have
and-
stuff going on.
And if enough of us get this message, Oprah,
Yes.
if enough of us get it, and that's just what my mission is just to teach people that you are love, you are divine. Put
Mhm.
that into your imagination. I am well, I am happy, I am content, I am fulfilled. Even if your senses tell you that you're depressed. One of your people that called me when we did a pre-interview on here said, well, if I'm feeling depressed, I'm supposed to fool myself and say I am feeling well, even
You
if I'm
can't choose
depressed?
another thought. That's
Yeah,
what I've learned.
Absolutely. And it's like you don't say I am depressed, because if you say I am depressed, you connect with depression, and the universal source, God, whatever you want to call it, will align in such a way to offer you whatever it is.
More
that you
depression.
yeah, here's some more depression. I am unhappy. I am depressed. So by placing into your imagination what you want and assuming the feeling of that wish as already fulfilled, you go through your life feeling that. When enough of us do that, we will transform this planet. I'm telling you, it can be done.
We're
You know,
doing it right now.
Absolutely. Us sitting here, right here together. It's all part of this perfection.
All right. So here's a couple things that I want to just highlight in this presentation, in that video. Manifestation happens faster if you're in alignment with your source, and you can define it as whatever you want it to be. And he said, I will attract into my life what I am and not what I want. And to me, that's something very profound. There was a famous author by the name of Darren Hardy. He's the one who actually created Success Magazine. And I did a program of talking about how to have your best year ever. And in it, he said it was the most profound thing that I took out of his whole entire program. You know, when we're talking about goals, and somebody might say, well, I want a relationship. I want a certain partner, whether it's a man, woman, whatever you want. And you just basically say, I want this person. Let's say, you know, I want him to be 6 feet tall. I want him to have this much money. I want him to do all this other stuff. It's all I want, I want, I want. And what Brian Tracy, and I think something what Wayne Dyer is talking about here is, well, I can hear that these are all the things on your checklist of what you want in a partner. But let me ask you this, if you found that person, would they want to be with you? Mind blown, right? And so who do you have to be if you want that type of individual to be attracted to you, to want to be with you? And you could use it whatever sex you want, you know, replace it, right? You know, I want a woman with this features and this, and well, are you the man that she desires or wants to be with, or are you the partner that she's looking for? Whatever it may be. So it's a very, very important shift in terms of actually attracting that. And the same thing with business or getting a job. You know, if you think that you're not worthy, and if you're not acting consistent with the job that you're looking for, and what would make them want you? So it's a different perspective to have. And he says, when you're giving and serving, you know, that's when he actually says, you get spiritual guidance comes to you. And I think that there's something really profound in when we are giving and serving. If you're feeling depressed, don't say I'm depressed, and you'll get more depression. Instead of saying, instead say, I am well, I'm happy, I'm content, I am fulfilled, even if your senses tell you otherwise, because I've done this myself, and some of you will know it. I, at moments, have felt completely tired, right? And I say, my body's tired, you know, I just want to take a nap here. But you can actually choose with your thoughts and say, no, I am full of energy. I, am alive. And so suddenly you can actually make a decision to change your thoughts. And by changing your thoughts, you can actually, change the way you feel. And so the same thing with working out. Like, I don't want to work out, I'm tired. It's like, okay, I can recognize that this is a feeling that I have, but I'm more than just this feeling. And so what do I choose despite this situation, despite these feelings, what it is I want? So I'd like to hear from some of you on what you are getting from this. So first, let's talk with you, Roseanne, if you want to unmute yourself. What did you get from watching this video and from some of the key points?
I mean, like, some things that I relate to the thing he mentioned about manifestation is like, you know, it's kind of psychological. It's what you tell yourself and what you believe in. Like, for example, like when COVID first hit, I used to be like I started working out, so I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm not losing weight, I'm not seeing it. But then when I started telling myself, no, like I'm gonna lose weight, you know, I kind of started to see it. And it was just like, you know, something in my head, I guess you can say.
No, that's beautiful. And there are people out there that are not really attuned, or they may not actually, they may reject the whole spiritual thing. And I'd say, you know what, I respect whatever you want to believe and choose to believe, but this I principle, because you brought it up with with weight loss and choosing and focus and psychology. There was an author who I met, his name escapes me, but he says this whole idea of the law of attraction, what you want, what you choose to focus on, you get. And so it's the same way is about, and a reason why I remember him is because he was all about psychology. And he's like, for example, if you learn a new word, suddenly you never heard of this word, now you know this word, it's aware and you're conscious, and now everybody is saying it. So suddenly this word that you've never heard before, you hear it all the time. What happened before? It's because now you've, with your conscious mind, you are now actually looking for that word. So if you wanted to lose weight, I like that example, because guess what? The moment you want to choose, I want to lose weight, then guess what? I'm losing weight, I'm losing weight, I'm losing weight. You're actually now making yourself and your mind more aware. Anytime you hear some author speaking about losing weight, or you go to a restaurant, either what you're going to feed yourself, either this is going to help me gain weight or it's going to lose weight. So you start making different decisions and choices. So I think that's very important. And there's something else that I wanted to kind of mention. He also mentioned this book about The Secret. Now, feel free to post in the chat if you've ever seen or read the book The Secret, or they actually created a movie called The Secret, which is what I actually watched. I thought it was very beneficial, but I know the criticism of it, because they were really harping upon this idea that if you just believe it, it will come. And that's the law of attraction. And so the criticism came back. It's like, oh, that's just wishful thinking. Well, I'm going to say, here, I want a bike. It's just going to appear. But what I think that what people started in this whole success and leadership community says, yes, you first have to start with that. You first have to believe that you're entitled to a bike, you believe that you want a bike, and then you actually start taking actions consistent with getting that bike. And then the other thing that he mentioned was the I am discourses. And so I had like I told you, I was very transparent when I went through my depression. I went and sought out advice, and I met a shamanic empathic healer who taught me Reiki, and I just had an amazing experience, and it was a spiritual transformation. And when I said, I want more information, he says, Tim, I want you to read the I Am Discourses. And this was a book that was written in the 1930s. For some of you who ever research, again, it's some of the most fantastical stories. I don't recommend that you read the I Am Discourse. That is actually the third series of the book series. I recommend, if you're going to start this, you start off with the first volume 1, which is called Unveiled Mysteries by Godfrey Ray King. This had a profound difference upon me. And if you're into ancient wisdom, and every time I read the pages, I felt like, wow, wisdom is coming through, and whether you resonate with it or not is up to you. So again, I just wanted to highlight that. So for the sake of time, I'm going to go to the next video, and this is Tony Robbins. So everybody knows Tony Robbins. And the whole idea is where your focus goes, the energy flows. It's a really 2-minute video. So let's check it out right now.
Where will you be in your business, in your life in 36 months? Not because you hope, because you decide. Everyone in this room knows how to create. You're not a manager of your life, you're a creator of your life, or you wouldn't be in this room. How do you create your life? You get hungry for something, don't you? Who has done something in your life that once seemed difficult or impossible, and now it's part of your life? Who's got something in your life in this area? Say I. How did you do it? You created it 3 ways. Number 1, you decided there's something you wanted so bad that you unleashed all your desire. You became obsessed with it. If it was a business or a car or a relationship or a transformation in your body, if there's something you once envisioned and now it's real, it's because you didn't just envision it, you brought so much emotion to it that now it's in your life. It was once a dream, it was once a goal, and now it's in your life. How many have something like that in your life now? Say I. You may take it for granted now, hopefully not, but it was once just a vision. It may have seemed impossible at one time. So how did you do it? You started with a concrete vision of what you wanted and you focused on it continuously, didn't you? Wherever focus goes, energy flows. You envisioned something, you got clear about it, and then you started thinking about all the reasons why you wanted it. You got excited about it. Said, this is what's next for me now. I want this. You may have dreamed about it, thought about it, talked about it. But when you focus on something continuously, something magical happens. You get insights, don't you? You overhear a conversation and you hear something you wouldn't have heard if you didn't have that outcome or goal that you wanted so badly. Who's ever come up with something, obsessed about it, didn't even know how to do it, and it just happened and it came together? Who's had that experience? Say I. So why don't we tap into that power now for your business and life?
All right. So that is the Tony Robbins video. And so here is some key points that I want to go over with this. It's not about hope. How many times do you hear it with people and their goals like, I hope that I get this? You know, it's you actually decide. There's more power when you decide that you actually want something. Hope is a wish. You decide that you want that you're going to have it and you will have it. And then you're going to take actions consistent with that. Don't manage your life, create your life. How many people that we know are victims and say, I can't do this, I can't do that because of this. It's like, are you alive? You get to choose your priorities. So don't say that you can't. You say, I choose that I don't want this, right? Get hungry for something to do it if it's difficult or impossible, where your focus goes, energy flows. And so here was the 3 key action items. He says, be clear and specific. So know exactly what you want, which is very clear. But this, I think, is a key factor that I don't really hear often in terms of goal settings is emotion and the power of emotion. You see, it's that you have to unleash emotion in order to manifest what you want. You have to become obsessed with it. You have to think about it. You know, it's all you think about and it's what you want and focus on and take actions consistent with that. And if the emotion is so strong, then guess what? It's going to happen. And again, I don't mean to get into any politics, whatever you say, but I like to tell you, Donald J. Trump became president of the United States. I would never in a million years think that that was possible. But that guy was obsessed with actually becoming a president. He actually wanted to become a president in the 1980s. And if you see you hear about it, he actually was going to run as a third-party candidate and then saw how other people were running and that the two-party system, the third-party candidates weren't successful with whether it was Ross Perot or other famous third-party candidates. So he's like, I need to do it within the two-party system. And again, I think he was even Democratic when he was in New York, but you know, he was a very untraditional type of Republican. But listen, he became president, and I think that is a lot to his credit. Whether you agree with his policies or not, he had a lot of emotion about it. I think he was obsessed with it and did whatever it took to actually become president. And then you focus on it continually. You get insights, you overhear conversation, and it magically, once it starts to happen, once you take action. So I like to get your thoughts. So Shania, what are you getting from this Tony Robbins video and these key points?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. For me, I actually thought about so coming into John Jay, I learned about the VA MA program in criminal justice.
Yeah.
So just the idea of, going to college and then simultaneously, taking classes to get both my MA and VA, that's what drove me to come to John Jay. And so I was like, I really wanted it. So I came in with that, goal. And then when it was time to apply, I applied and I got accepted to this. So I definitely felt him when he said, like, when you like obsessed, so like when you really want something, you put in, like what I got from both videos is like what you put in the universe is what you attract. So you attract what you put in. So definitely that's what I've been trying to like do right now too. As I self-reflect, like I'm trying to say more positive affirmations to myself, because I think it does help with my self-esteem and stuff, but definitely like putting it in, because I do have moments when I do feel good because I'm putting it out into the universe. So I definitely believe in what you put in is what you attract. So, yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for sharing that. And I loved how, you knew that you were going to go into criminal justice, right? Like you had a passion, you had a desire for it. And what I keep thinking is just knowing you and what would have happened if you just got a letter and said, sorry, you weren't selected. Would that deter you? Would that say, you know what, hey, I got to figure out how I got to get in, or I'm going to find some other criminal justice program, or the moment that you actually make a decision, any obstacle that comes in your way, you're like, I don't care this is happening to me, like I'm going to learn from something from this. What's next? All right, what else do I need to do? Where was I deficient? Would that be accurate, Shania, that you kind of had that decisiveness and power that you would have got it done no matter what?
Yeah, but that wasn't the case for that. But actually, a perfect example is the Innocence Project Fellowship. Like I applied to it twice and I didn't get it. So I'm applying to it one last time this year because I remember we're in John Jay. And like I've been putting in the work in terms of like I've been reaching out to students who was involved to talk to them. And I've been reaching out to like the director. So like I'm trying to get more information about it and how I could like improve my resume and my application. So I don't know. Hopefully, it feels like it, but definitely that. Because it's just the idea of like the Innocence Project, what they're for. It's like even though I didn't get accepted twice, it's like I'm gonna do it one more time. So hopefully, the best happens. But yeah, definitely.
Well,
Yeah,
I do want you to get it. I know you will get it, and and like we said, don't hope. You decide you'll get it and do whatever it takes in order for you to get it. And it's a different way of thinking. And I always go back to the Jack Canfield. Remember the Chicken Soup for the Soul. He's a New York Times best-selling author. Okay. He won the Guinness Book of World Records of amount of books sold. I can't even remember the amount of people and publishers that he went to go get this book published, but I have to at least say that it was at minimum 44, could have been even 47. Can you imagine trying to get a book and you getting rejected? Publisher, no. Publisher, no. And then giving you all the reasons of why it won't succeed as a book. But the power of that person not hoping that somebody would get the book, but like deciding, no, we will get this published no matter what. And then one publisher, after like the 48th or whatever number, decided to say, okay, we'll give it a shot. And guess what? He didn't just depend upon them. He was so focused and on what he did that every day he woke up and he says, what are 5 action steps that I can take every day to help make this book the most popular best-selling book? And even that action step took 1 minute, half an hour. he wouldn't finish the day unless he did those 5 action steps. So whether it was joining on a radio TV show, doing a guest appearance, writing some blog, sharing some story, he was taking action, making that phone call, trying to get an interview. So you'd be amazed if you don't accept rejection and keep going, the amazing things that will happen. So let's go to one of my favorite videos. This is Steve Harvey, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. It's talking about writing it down. All right, so let's see what he has to
Most
say.
of what I learned was from my father, who had no education at all. My daddy had a 3rd grade education. Smartest man I ever met in my life. I kid you not. If it wasn't for him, I'm not standing here today. So the trip I'm gonna take you on is to show you how I got to where I am. Through all the hardships, the failures. I was homeless. I lived in my car for 3 years, from age 30 to 33. Don't nobody know all of this. So the person you see on this end right now, it was a trip for me. It was a total and complete journey. 6th grade now, 1968, I'm 10. They sitting up there and people started standing up. Brenda wants to be a doctor. Larry wants to be a lawyer. So I stood up and I'm thinking to myself, now this is a gold star moment right here. Oh yeah, this is the day I've been waiting on. I'm gonna get recognized for the brilliant cat that I am. And it's no doubt in their mind now who the star student of this school is, because I done put something on my paper that was unbelievable. Because nobody had wrote on their paper, I want to be on TV. I get up in front of the class, she said, what did you write on your paper? This is big. I said, I want to be on TV. She said, why did you write that on your paper? I said, because that was our assignment for today. She said, and what made you think you could write such a thing on your paper? I said, okay, obviously, this is not the proper tone to be talking to when you about to give me a gold star. She said, who do you know on TV? I said, nobody. She said, anybody in this school ever been on TV? I said, no, ma'am. She said, anybody in your neighborhood ever been on TV? I said, no, ma'am. She said, well, what makes you think you can be on TV? And she crushed me. I said, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. She said, I'm going to call your house and I'm going to tell your mother that you're a smart aleck. So when I got home, she on the front porch. And she said, what did you do up at that school? I said, well, Mama, I just did what she asked me to do. She asked me what I wanted to be. I wrote, I want to be on TV. She said, why did you write that on the paper? I said, because Mama, that's what I want to be. She said, when your daddy get home, I'm going to tell him you've been up at the school being a smart aleck. So he comes home, he takes his bath and he's reading the paper. And afterwards, he said, boy, come in here. He said, what is this your mama telling me you did up at the school? And she's standing there. Tell him what you did. And I said, I wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV. He said, what you do that for? I said, because that's what the teacher asked us, Daddy, what we want to be. She said, and you're being up there being smart, he gonna put a smart answer, he want to be on TV. My father looked at me and said, well, what's wrong with that? I said, okay. He was going, well, Slick, he got to be more reasonable like the teacher said. He said, well, Bill, that don't make no sense. That's what the boy want to be. She said, he can't do what he want to do. Got to do like the teacher said. He said, boy, go in your rooms. Come in the room a little bit later on. He said, boy, what you write on your paper? I said, I want to be on TV. He said, well, what she want you to put on the paper? I said, I don't know, Daddy, like a policeman or ball player or something. That's what all the rest of the boys would. He said, well, put that on the paper. Take it back up to that dream-killing heifer. So he said, now take that paper and put it in your drawer. He said, every night before you go to bed, read your paper. He said, every morning when you get up and go to school, read your paper. I did it. If you turn on your television set, seven days a week, I'm on there somewhere, because that is a principle of success that all successful people know. If it is written, so shall it be. That's the deal. If you don't have what you want in life, just check yourself. Is it written anywhere? Have you wrote it down? Have you claimed it? Have you laid it into faith? Have you willed it into existence? Has it become a law? Did you write it down? If it ain't written down, what you want? Now that teacher that gave me that assignment, just, she passed recently. She was an older woman. I loved her though. Every year, I sent her a flat screen TV. And what I learned was that success that all successful people know, we write it down. It's a vision board. You got to have vision boards, man. You ought to see what's on my laptop and my computer. Even I, with all God has blessed me with, I still have visions. A man without a dream or vision shall perish. You've all heard this. I just try to put it in a way where it's real talk. See, writing it down makes it doable. If you go through a school zone doing 35 miles per hour and the police stop you and a truck was blocking the sign that said 20 miles an hour, guess what? You still get the ticket. You know why? Because it's a written law. They put it into law. They wrote it down. The fact that you ain't read it, the fact that you didn't see the sign, tough. It's written. 20. You break the law, 20. You got to write it down. That's an important thing. See, here's a cold thing I learned. You got to fix your mindset. You change that. The moment you change your thought, your attitude determines your altitude. The moment you change your thought is the moment you change your existence.
What a great motivational video. I love that. So I'd like to get some feedback. Elizabeth, I'd love to hear your feedback. If you can unmute your microphone, what did you get from actually watching that video? Elizabeth, are you available to unmute your microphone?
I actually have to rewatch this question because my kids have been asking for everything underneath the sun, so I've been distracted.
All right, no problem. I'm going to give you a quick recap. So basically, people try to kill your dreams, right? In this story, what ended up happening is the teacher said, no, you need to be reasonable. And so, and it was only his dad that was the one that actually had faith of him. And so instead of, Steve said, in order to achieve your vision or dream, you must write it down. And if it is written, so shall it be. And people who are successful look at their goals every day, and they actually have faith. They have believed that they are going to achieve that, and they will it into existence because they do that. And then the other thing is vision boards, because what ends up happening is if you start to study the patterns of successful people, once they know what they want, they can write it down, but they're constantly reminding themselves of that thing that they want. And this is what, if you watch that video or read that book, The Secret, you can actually hear some amazing stories of how many people have wrote down their goals, had a vision board, had their dream home, and ended up, buying that exact same dream home. And it's many times that we need those images to remind us of what we want, and so that we consistently take action towards it. And then the last thing is you have to change your mindset, right? Change your thoughts and you change your attitude. And again, that's just a very good advice for anybody is, if you want to succeed, whether it's your job or career, if you have a lousy attitude, I hate my manager, I hate my boss, I hate this company, how are you expecting to excel? And I can say that from personal experience. When I was working at my job and I disapproved of the manager's leadership style, because I really studied leadership, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I would just be judging all the time. And it wasn't until I had a coach that changed my perspective that, guess what? The moment that I shifted, everything else shifted. And it's the same thing in your relationships with your loved ones. How many times it's like, my partner is the problem, oh, my wife, she's so unloving to me. Well, guess what? If you have that image like I did with my wife, that she's unloving, then guess what? Unloving wife, I start to act consistently with that unloving, wife in my mind. Can I get a foot massage? No, you're an unloving wife. Why should I actually give you a foot massage? So do you see how what I focused on, I created? What was my attitude? And so I started to change my attitude and see, like going back to what we originally said, who you want to be. I want to be a loving husband and I want to have a loving wife. And so in order for me to do that, I need to change, not the other person. And so it was just I changed my attitude and then things changed. So again, Elizabeth, based on what I shared from this kind of recap, what are you getting from both the video and what I'm sharing with you right now?
So if you write your goals down as a reminder, you're gonna not just be able to visualize by seeing the goal, but you'll also be able to change language that you tell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And changing that language changes self-esteem and also self-confidence
Yes.
to help you achieve. And so I actually did that while I failed at several other things, to be honest with you. Public election, I
Mhm.
failed at that.
But remember, every failure is an opportunity to learn from that experience, right?
I lost the election in a very, very red district running as a blue candidate. So that, well, you know, it just wasn't very possible based on numbers alone. But I waited and recouped, and I actually took a job last month as a legislative staff with my county. So
Congratulations.
it was
job.
actually one of my
No.
goals to kind of go back into the public sector. Although I love advocacy, there was just no advocacy jobs local. Of course, now they're all popping up, but I'm like, I like the public sector. I'll just stay there.
Well, I actually, as you know, my background is after I graduated, I wanted to make a difference, right? And again, a lot of the people and the members here in Elected Society, we don't want to just sit around and just, watch Netflix all day. Although I love my program to unwind like everybody else, it's because we want to do something, right? We want to make a difference. And so I did that in government and I learned a lot, and I got out of it because eventually I was ready for my next lesson, how I could continue to make an even greater impact. Because I believe if you're not learning or growing, you're stagnating. So no, congratulations, Elizabeth. I'm so happy. And it's so funny how you say, I want advocacy work. And then now that you got this position, all these advocacy opportunities are coming up. So I thought that was really cool. So let's go into the next video. And now we're going to go into more specific about goals. And again, I think Shania had mentioned it in the chat. This is very similar to SMART goals. If you haven't heard about that, it just means goals that, it's an acronym to mean different things, specific for S in SMART. M stands for measurable, A for achievable, R for rewarding, or and T for timely, but some different variations of that, either achievable, accessible, realistic instead of rewarding. But you get the same idea, because people always say, I want to lose weight. Okay, and guess what? They never lose any weight. Or I want to gain, muscle, but they never do it, right? So there's something in the idea of having that vision. But now once we have a clear picture of what you look like, then it's actually, now let's make it something very, very specific. And so that we can actually take actions consistently every day to make it happen. So let's watch this.
5
video.
reasons you're not achieving your goals and how to overcome them. People with clear written goals accomplish far more in a shorter period of time than people without them could ever imagine. Brian Tracy. We've all been there, feeling fired up to work towards our goals, but then failing along the way. Not achieving a goal can be discouraging and might deter us from setting other meaningful goals. Instead of feeling discouraged when we don't immediately reach our goal, however, we should take some time and reflect on why we didn't meet the goal so we can learn how to grow from the overall experience. Smart goal setting is the best way to ensure you'll reach your goals, and there are a few easy steps you can take to set better goals and then meet them. Here are 5 reasons you might not be achieving your goals and the best ways to fix those problems. The first reason you might not be able to reach your goals is that they are too vague. Many times people set goals that are just too vague, and you might think to yourself, I'd like to get in shape, or it would be really great to have more money in my savings account. And sure, it would be great, but unless you outline your goals more specifically, you're probably not going to reach them. Specific goals are helpful because when you spell out exactly what you want to do, it's easier to envision yourself doing it and to actually go through the motions. Instead of saying, I want to get in shape, try saying, I'm going to work out 3 days a week and stop drinking soda. Just like that, your goal has transformed from something vague that you'd like to do into something concrete and specific that you're going to do. Another reason you might be struggling with your goals is that you're not quantifying them. A common mistake when it comes to goal setting is that your goals aren't measurable. Can you evaluate your goal and measure your progress? If not, it's probably a good idea to revisit and tweak your original goal. For example, if you were to say, my goal is to save more money, that's difficult to measure. What does more mean? That goal could be interpreted in many different ways. And you might pat yourself on the back for saving $10 when really $10 can't buy you very much at all. But if you were to say that your goal is to save $5,000 by this summer, it's easy to track your progress. Then you can regularly check your bank account to see how close you are to that $5,000 mark. And along the way, you'll stay motivated because you will see how close you're getting to your goal. The next reason is that you're setting unattainable goals. Setting goals is exciting. You might have grand plans such as becoming a millionaire or building your dream house. But if you set the bar too high, you're not going to reach your goals and you'll feel disappointed in yourself and burned out. An easy way to combat this is by setting goals that are achievable. For instance, let's say you want to build a dream house. Saying, I want to build a dream house for my family in the next 6 months is most likely not an achievable goal. Building a house takes time. So a more realistic goal might be, I'm going to find a contractor and make a budget. Once you've achieved that goal, you can think of the rest of the process and decide what your next realistic goal might be. Another reason may be that you're setting goals that are irrelevant to your life. Sure, you might like the idea of moving to New York City or the Caribbean, but is that goal actually relevant to your life? Achieving that goal may be fun, but if it doesn't move you further down the road in your overall plan for life, it wasn't really worth it. That's why you need to make sure your goals aren't a waste of your time. Each goal should have a purpose behind it to help make it relevant. Instead of moving to the Caribbean just because the blue water looks pretty, a better goal might be, I want to move to this particular city because there are so many more opportunities for jobs in my industry. And the final reason you may be falling short on your objectives is that you're not adding a time frame requirement. Adding a deadline to each goal you set is essential. When you add a deadline to your goals, you'll be much more motivated to work towards them and ensure you reach them before your time period is up. But what does this look like? It's simple. Instead of saying, I want to hire 2 more employees for my company, say, I want to hire 2 more employees for my company within 3 months. Then you'll be more motivated to pursue and reach that goal. If you're ready to start setting better goals, check out this free guide that's jam-packed with actionable tips to help you achieve your goals. We want to hear from you. And our question today is this. Have you ever set a goal that you were not able to reach? What was it and how could you have made it more attainable? Leave a comment below and Brian will follow up with you. Thanks for watching, and remember, as Brian always says, if you want to change your future, take action and take action now.
If you enjoyed.
All right. So that's the Brian Tracy video. Again, that's a recap for some of you who already know about SMART goals. I think that it is very powerful. The thing that I would like to point out with that is about in that video, they really highlighted emotion, like the reason why she wanted to go to the city. You know, the more reasons why you want to achieve a goal. And this is something that even goes back to even the Wayne Dyer video. And I read this and I think that it was very powerful. When you want to do something that is constructive or helpful, you'll be surprised on how much quicker that goal is achieved. I'm telling you, at one point, I've had a vision for Electus Society. I'm talking about years ago. I'm talking about back in 2006, 2010, I had a vision for it. And I would play around with different ideas, but guess what? At that time, it was an idea for, oh, I just want to make money. Like I had learned about other different systems and I'm like, oh, I could do all this. And it never took off at all. But the moment that I actually put my whole heart on it, and I'm like, no, I have a greater mission. And I'm not saying that everything you have to do has to be for nonprofit, but the moment that I wanted to put so much heart and emotion about it and not try to make it like some kind of business or anything like that, that is when it really took off. I was able to enroll people and get interviews and things like that I haven't yet shared with all of you yet, from people on what their experience was. And then it just started happening. How could I just, do speaking engagements? The same thing, right? Whenever you offer something of value, and like I shared with everybody, if you attend a school, I'll do a free training for your student government, your organization, because guess what? It's an opportunity to get in front of people to actually share this, and it just started snowballing, right? So those little steps. So again, going back to SMART goals, is many times people are so vague that it's just terrible, and it just doesn't actually get what you want. So for this video and this training, what we're, and as part of the post assessment, some of you may already have goals in this area. It's time to maybe reaffirm them or rewrite them down. But as part of this post assessment, I want you to write a career goal and a health goal and a relationship goal. And remember, follow this. Don't just say, I want to lose weight, give it a specific pounds, right? Or if it's about, let's see, you want to, let's say, I want to slim down, right? That's vague and so specific. Measure how much your waist is and how many inches do you want to lose? And when it comes to being realistic, I would say that if you are very diligent with your diet and exercise, and you're watching what you eat, most people, from personal trainers that I worked with, that you can lose a pound per day. So that to me is something realistic if you're diligent about it, right? And guess what? You could be so diligent the whole week, and then one weekend you're like, I'm going to treat myself. You could have a whole meal that you could be thousands of calories that could just wipe out everything you've done the whole week. So I only speak from personal experience because I've done it. And then the same thing, tackle some area in terms of your relationship. It could be with a significant other, it could be a family member, or it could be a loved one, a friend, anything like that. Something that that sticks, that you want to achieve. Okay, so now I'm going to do one more video. And so I always like to share a fun video. There is a movie that I don't know when it was done. Maybe it was the 1980s, and it was called What About Bob? I'd love to hear in the chat if you've ever seen this movie. But if you haven't, what it is, it's a movie starring Bill Murray, a famous comedian. He was in Ghostbusters and all that other kind of stuff. And what he did is, he is an individual with a lot of problems, right? Psychological problems, germaphobe, doesn't want to touch anything. And so the movie starts out where a psychiatrist calls this guy, Dr. Leo Marvin, and says, can you take this patient? And he says, sure, schedule an appointment with me. And he hangs up. He's like, oh my God, this is the best news, because guess what? Bob is a little crazy, and he's clingy, and he won't, he's obsessive. And so what ends up happening is he has a session with him, and the movie, it's early on in the movie, and then he goes on to, follow him to the family vacation, and a lot of hilarious things happen. So this is the encounter that with Bob meeting Dr. Leo Marvin in the office, and it's just 4 minutes, but it really goes back to, in terms of baby steps. So check it out. I hope you guys enjoy it.
What you're saying is that even though you are an almost paralyzed multiphobic personality that is in a constant state of panic, your wife did not leave you. You left her because she liked Neil Diamond.
No, you're saying that maybe I didn't leave her because she likes Neil Diamond, but maybe she left me?
Yes.
Ow, 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 ow. Dr. Marvin, you can help me. For the first time in my life, I feel like there's hope. I feel like I can be somebody.
Bob, there's an old saying that the best psychiatrist in the world is the one right inside of you.
Yeah.
I can help you. Yes.
Thank you.
There is a groundbreaking new book that has just come out. Now, not everything in this book, of course, applies to you, but I'm sure that you can see when you see the title exactly how it could help.
Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time, one tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
For instance, when you leave this office, don't think about everything you have to do in order to get out of the building. Just think of what you must do to get out of this room. And when you get to the hall, deal with that hall and so forth. You see?
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Oh, boy.
Baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps through the office. Baby steps out the door. It works. It works. All I have to do is take one little step at a time, and I can do anything. Baby step around the office. Baby step around the office.
That should give you a lot to digest while I'm on vacation.
Vacation?
I'm taking my family on vacation until Labor Day.
That's a month. What if I need you? What if I need to talk?
Well, my associate, Dr. Harmon, would be happy to talk. And Bob, I'll be back. Just read baby steps.
Baby steps out of the office.
Very good.
Baby steps to the hall.
Very good, Bob. Keep going. That's it. Bye. I'll see you in a month.
Baby step. Baby step onto the elevator. Baby steps into the elevator. I'm in the elevator.
Bill the usual rate for the interview and $29.95 for the book.
Oh my goodness. Such a funny movie. I hope that you all enjoyed that. So again, here's what I would like to share as some concepts about this baby steps thing. Now, again, it's a very fun, cute movie, and it just illustrates the reason why most people don't accomplish their goals or don't achieve what they want is because they digest it as overwhelming. I always, when I was coaching people, I would say, you're turning this problem from what is an anthill into a Mount Everest. And so if you could simply break it down into a little bit of baby steps or simple action steps, you're going to get further. And how that shows up is, oh my goodness, if I'm overweight, I'm like, oh, I need to go to the gym 5 times a week. I need to like starve myself. It's like, no, you see what ends up happening is by you thinking about the goal that extreme, what's going to happen is you're just going to deter yourself. You're going to say it's impossible. It's, it can't happen. But like I always share with you before, if you take just the most minimal action steps, it would make a difference. Hey, I don't have an hour every day. I have children, I have family, I have a school, I have a work. When am I going to find the time to exercise? So I said, well, what is the most small baby step thing that you can do is whenever you arrive at work, instead of taking the elevator, maybe you take the stairs. Or maybe, once you're working at the computer, maybe you could just do some squats or do some jumping jacks or anything like that, that these are so small, so minimal. But guess what? Those things add up. And if you actually don't do anything, you're not going to achieve it. So that was one of the big highlights to me about that is, so anytime you think about a goal or whatever it is, just do what is the most minimal baby step that is possible and just do that. And then the other thing is that when it comes to the career, the world, the project, how does the business world operate in this whole concept of having goals and baby steps? Well, every year, if you're a business, you have a 15-year goal, or you have a 5-year goal, and you have a 1-year goal, and then you have a quarterly goal. And so these are all little things that are going to be in alignment with that ultimate goal. But guess what? You take that year goal and you break it down into, what can I do in 3 months? All right. And then when you take those 3 months, what can I do within 1 month? What should I be doing every day? And they just basically take all these different large goals and they break them down into such small baby steps that they're going to achieve it because they're focused on it. So again, if businesses can do it, then you can do that with any area of your life. And then the other thing that I wanted to highlight on this video, and then I want to get some feedback. Hannah, if you can unmute your microphone, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're getting. But before you do that, here's what I would say. My favorite quote out of that whole video was this idea: is the greatest psychologist is you, the one within you. And so to me, again, these are my beliefs, as we had talked about before. I believe we have a conscious, and I believe that we have a higher self, your gut instinct, your Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. And many times, if you don't know what an answer is, you tap into that higher source in order to get guidance. And so I've learned throughout my experience that to just be a good coach, to be, a good counselor for all the different clients that I've had, I don't necessarily just give them all the answers and say, this is what you have to do. I actually believe that's a mistake, because I can share my experiences and maybe they might be inspired, but only they know what they need to do. And here's something that blew my mind. And again, it was only recent, is what if that person, what they need to do, and you tell them what they need to do and they don't do it? Or if you know what they need to do, but you don't tell them, and then they still don't do what you tell them, ask your higher self, meditate upon it, pray about it, figure it out. And guess what? They do something that ends up resulting in some harm or some damage. I would always judge them. And I would say, you idiot, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you follow my advice? And I've actually grown in my perspective. And I've started to realize that, guess what? People have our souls, people have this lifetime. There are certain lessons that need to be learned. And guess what? Some people learn through other people, but a lot of people learn from their own mistakes. And guess what? I would say there's God in action in that experience. You know what? Maybe that they needed to do that, even though I know it was going to be a negative outcome. But guess what? That's that person's journey. That's that soul's journey. And I think, going back to what Wayne Dyer said, it's, we really have to let go of the whole criticism, let go of the whole judgment, right? Because who are you to know what that person needs at this moment in time? So again, I thought that it was a very important perspective that has shifted me and has allowed me to be less hateful, less criticizing and condemning of other people. And I know it can be very tough, but it's that zooming out that's really helped me in terms of, especially when I'm helping different people or coaching different clients. So that's what I really got from that video. I hope you enjoyed it. So Hannah, if you could unmute your microphone, what are you getting from what I've been sharing or from the video? If you're able to unmute. Hannah, are you there? I don't think you're either hear me or you can't unmute. It's okay. So then I'll just take any other comment that you want to share. Elizabeth, did you want to share something about this video, or anybody else about what I've just shared or this video? Because I know that you saw What About Bob. So feel free to unmute yourself and share.
I think I saw that movie when I was a kid, because I'm not super young, we'll put it that way. So
Non-traditional student, that's what you are, Elizabeth.
yes. And that movie was funny when I was a kid, because you don't process like all of, you see the idiosyncrasies that he has.
Yeah.
But you don't process the why until you're an adult, and then you're like, oh, and more things make sense.
Mm,
So, you know, he needed something that could help him achieve being able to do normal daily tasks of living without having so much anxiety that he wouldn't be able to accomplish anything.
absolutely. And again, all of you, if you haven't seen this movie, it is hilarious. I highly recommend you see that. And that's what the movie's all about, right? How many of us have all these different issues, right? Where we have our fears and anxieties. And when you watch this movie, you actually see the unwinding of those anxieties. And how does he do it? Baby steps. He actually takes little actions, and once he tries something and it's not so terrifying and not so scary, amazing things happen. So I definitely recommend that you watch it. So, and Elizabeth, I know you watched it when you're 10, but maybe it's worth watching it again, right? Maybe if we can find it on Amazon Prime or something like that. Okay.
The
So,
goldfish part is pretty hilarious.
oh my God. Yes. We won't go at any more spoilers. So you all have to watch it. So, so as part of the post assessment, I want each one of you who is listening or watching this recording to write down, you're going to write a goal, right? For each of the 3 areas of your life, your health, your career, and your relationships, those 3. And once you write out your goal, the next question is going to be, what is the baby step? What is the most minimal action step that you can take this week? It could take 1 minute. It could take 5 minutes. It could take half an hour, an hour. What can you do that's going to get you closer to that goal? I want you to write it down. And if you've been listening to all these type of trainings, you know that if, especially the one that I said, the biggest challenge leaders face and mastering success habits, you'll actually put it in your schedule, right? Whatever action step that you do. So now it's in existence, and you do that action step to get you closer to the goal. So do a baby step for each one of those 3 goals that you make. All right. So that's all, folks. At this point, I'll take any other questions that you have or any other comments that you might have about today's session. I'm in the chat. I'm going to post, let me see. Yep, that is the Google form for as part of the post assessment. So does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask me about these topics, whether it's about goals, visioning, or action steps to achieve them? Don't be shy. Anytime you guys share and ask good questions, maybe there are other people who are watching this recording that could actually benefit from it as well. Okay. And if you don't have any questions, any other final comments?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Shania, and then Roseanne. Go ahead.
I just wanted to know, can we still set up one-on-ones with you, even though if we set up one? Okay, because I do want to start, like, I want to discuss more about like creating a vision board, because I've been meaning to, because I really do believe in writing things down. It helps a lot. And so that's one of the things that stuck out to me too during this session. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you more about that so I can get started on that, because I really do think that will help me with things. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to answer that question right now, but you're more than welcome to schedule a time with me, right? My calendar is part of my email. You guys can book a time, anybody. And I think I've met with about 10 or 15 of you, but there's still a lot more people that just have been so busy with finals. But I'm going to send out reminders next week now that school will kind of be dying down, hopefully for many of you, to schedule more of those one-on-ones and catch up on those trainings. But it's very simple, right? Now, sometimes when people hear about a vision board, they think, oh my goodness, I have to buy a big, poster board like in 3rd grade, or 5th grade. And then I have to like put all this stuff on it. It doesn't actually have to be that complicated. What it is I think step 1 is writing it down. So for example, for me, I practice what I preach. So here's my gratitude journal. And I wrote on a piece of paper, and at the top are all my goals, right? And then these are all the action steps that I need to take in all the areas of my life. And so every day when I do my journal, I review those goals and I review why it's so important and focus on manifesting it. And then it's also about, for visioning board, it's just pictures. So because we're living in the digital age, I'm a big fan of just finding whatever pictures that you want. Don't make it complicated. Like I said, with baby steps, people make things so big and then they're like, oh, I have to do this whole big project. No, go online, Google those images of what you want. Like right now, I want to go to Egypt and I want to go to Peru and I want to visit Machu Picchu. And I've once opened up an advertisement that for I think it was like Caribbean cruises or something like that. And I saw a picture of Machu Picchu in Peru, and I just cut it out and I just put it on my bookshelf. And I'm looking at it right now. So you could actually just post that in your actual desktop, right, as a background, or put it on your phone. Like, it doesn't have to be something that print it out and then put it in your little journal or whatever you keep, so that when you do your things in the morning, review it. So like I said, don't overcomplicate it. These are just ways and reminders that every day what you focus on, your energy goes. So at that moment, the moment that you remind yourself of those pictures, it's going to manifest. Like, you're going to make it happen because you keep thinking about it, you keep wanting it, and so you're going to take action with that. Is that helpful, Shania? Awesome. All right, Roseanne, go ahead. What was your question or comment?
It's not really a question. I just wanted to say that like today's session, I feel like it was a really good reminder for me personally, with like, the baby steps and just setting, writing it down and stuff like that. Like, I usually do it, but I feel like I've been lacking on that recently. So it was a good reminder for me.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that I think, this is why I created Electus Society, because I don't necessarily assume that everything that I'm sharing is going to be groundbreaking and that you never heard before. But now, why don't we be a part of a community? And, it's about having those reminders so that we constantly work and improve. Like, remember how I talked about the gratitude journal? Like, the moment that I learned about it, I wasn't doing the journal every day. It was just me taking constant improvement upon what I was before. And so, yeah, one used to be once a week, or once every 2 days. But again, because you just kind of work on yourself, you implement it as a practice. And the same thing with the scheduling. Every time I say, schedule your whole week, what are you going to focus on? Your ideal calendar. And guess what? Sometimes you're going to miss it or not do it. Forgive yourself and just try to be better tomorrow. So absolutely. So yeah, you kind of know in the back of your head, you want to achieve these goals. I know I'm supposed to write it down. All right, baby step. All right, tomorrow morning or tonight, write it down in the post assessment and then rewrite it in your journal or whatever you got to do, and do that. And then I think that when you write the goal, remember, have a deadline date on which you want to achieve it by, because that's what most people forget, right? Is putting a deadline and then actually measuring it. Like, could I actually determine whether I achieved it or not? And then I always like to write underneath it, why? Why is that important? Because we talked about emotion today. Like, like right now I'm trying to find a new job. And so I've been looking and searching and things like that. And I've written out, why do I need that new job? Because guess what? I will be able to have an income so that I could provide for my family, so that I could actually go on these trips to Egypt and Peru. Like, there are all these things. The more I have that emotion of why it's so important that I achieve that goal and achieve that number, it can't just be a regular number of how much salary I want to make. It has to be real. So please include that as those emotions in order to help you achieve that goal. Okay. Thanks so much, Roseanne. Elizabeth, any final questions or comments before we wrap up the session today? Elizabeth, you still there?
No, I'm good. I don't have any questions for today.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here. And again, Shania, Roseanne, I know that a lot of people were in finals. So, the fact that you guys were the troopers and made it to the live training really means a lot to me. But I know that a lot more people will watch the recording. And have a great Thursday, great week. And I'll see you next Thursday and announce the upcoming training very shortly. And I believe the next training is, if I'm correct, it's going to be talking about jobs and internships, secrets to getting your dream job or internship. Talking about, I have even a handout which is the 49 most common questions that you get typically asked in an interview and how to respond to them. So, and it works. How do I know? Is because the interviews that I've gotten right now, I've been able to go all the way up to the CEO of the companies, because I think that I'm a pretty good interviewer, because I've learned about these questions and how to respond and how to prepare. So we're going to cover all of that. So have a great day, everybody. Please fill out the post assessment so you can get credit for this training, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Tim, I actually have a question. I wanted to know
Go ahead.
if you, because I just wanted to make sure if you received the post assessments from the previous sessions. I know I didn't do the last one, but I just wanted to make sure like I'm on track.
Yeah, and we're still recording, and so that's a great question.
Oh.
So no, it's okay.
Sorry. Oh,
Because
okay.
anybody else who's watching this recording, they're like, oh, did I do that at post assessment? Just send me an email. Again, I'm trying to teach everybody to be responsible over what they've seen, but I know there's so many different trainings. How do you know if you did it, you watched it, maybe you got distracted? Just email me and say, hey, Tim, can you just let me know which trainings I'm missing or post assessments, and I'll go in and I'll go through and see which ones you're missing, and I'll email it to you back. Okay. So,
Okay.
I'll probably get back to you within 48 hours or sooner. All right. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so Shania, please send me a quick email so that that's my to-do, so that I'll know that I'll complete that for you. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good
Have
one.
a good one. Bye.